We are Tailgate Talk. Welcome into the show. I'm Matt Thomas. With me, we've got Trent Williams and Kyle Schumann. It's the week that everybody's been waiting for, the game that everybody's been waiting for.
It's like deja vu.
Yeah. Penn State versus Delaware State, right? Everyone's excited about the opening of the basketball season tonight, right? Yeah? No? Just
We
me?
climbing?
Yeah, we climbing. We just got the second highest rated recruit in Penn State basketball history like 45 minutes ago. So, yeah, I'd say we're climbing. But
Taylor Battle 2.0.
no, this is tell your brother to stop idolizing Taylor Battle. So, all right. No, actually, it is Michigan week. So, I heard it's a pretty big game. Heard there's a lot of stuff going on. But before we do that, we got to talk about Maryland.
I was spanking.
Yeah.
A lot of things were said on this pod last week. A lot by some of us.
And the team listened.
And the team listened. It felt like that. It felt like they listened. No, not really. I know I asked this question last pod and I said, what did you need to see from us against Maryland to sort of buy back in a little going into Michigan? And we all sort of said like nothing. We bought back in. Maybe not Matt. 90% of the fan base bought back in. Let's be honest.
So I was watching the game up in Connecticut with my dad and visiting for the weekend. And on the way back, I was talking to Trent, just saying like, I'm all the way back in. I am over the moon back in. I'm going to blind optimism. Like, we got a chance this weekend.
My motto is believe. I'm not arguing in the group chat this week. Every time people say negative things about this game, I'm just going to respond with the Ted Lasso believe. I believe. Kyle, do you believe?
I believe.
I believe.
I'm glad you guys feel better. I mean, it was Maryland. That's all I'm going to say. It was Maryland. So.
This has 2016 vibes. 2016 vibes, Kyle, when someone said, not even going to the game because we're going to get blown out. Why would I waste my time? Feels that way.
Maybe I'll turn it into 2023 vibes where a certain someone left before the game even started. So
made up for going to the Ohio State game, but we lost that one. But I made up for it. Went to an extra game.
I mean, the fact that we lost.
Yeah, no. You got my beef is with Trent this week, not you.
Okay.
So
oh,
no,
good.
I mean,
Trent perked up a little bit there.
Yeah.
I love a good beat. It's good podcasting. We're coming off a record regular season number pod. I mean, let's get it. Let's keep it going.
I mean, no, it was a great game. It was a very exciting game. Everything looked great, but Maryland, it's not Michigan. So
I don't care that it was Maryland. Everything I said last week that Drew wasn't, he was.
Yeah.
And it was so promising to see because you could say it's Maryland, but guess what? He didn't look like that against Northwestern. He didn't look like that against Illinois. He didn't look like that against Indiana. Those are not good teams.
And you know what? Ohio State didn't really do it to Maryland either for a full game. Like you say it late in the third quarter, they did like in the fourth quarter, but full.
I mean, you get 12 different versions of a team every year. And maybe this week will be a team that can beat Michigan. I'm not saying that they can't. I'm just saying that I'm not we talked about this earlier. I'm not doing this thing that we do every single year where we beat a team by 35 that we're supposed to beat by 35 and 36, whatever the score was, and then thinking that it's going to translate to beating Michigan. I'm not doing it. I'm refusing.
You're already shelling yourself. You're bracing yourself for the fall already.
Yeah,
I know.
No,
I know what you're saying. All right, take a step back. I do understand what you're saying. We do it all the time. We never win the big game, right? When was the last time we went into a big game as a slight underdog and came out with a win? We never do. So it feels inevitable that like we cannot win this game. I get the feeling. I've lived through the same pain as every other Penn State fan. But I thought we could beat this team prior to last week. Prior to the Maryland game, I thought we could beat this team. I feel a lot more confident that we can beat this team because of what I've seen. And it's not just, I understand we played a poor opponent, but like I said, we've played poor opponents a couple times this year and still had these struggles in the receiving room. We still had these struggles in the quarterback room. That's the most free I've seen Drew throw the ball. That is the most aggressive I've seen our receivers play. They played like, almost like they heard all the smack talk as though they're the reason this team sucks. That's the narrative. They played as if I know, but like that's the narrative, right? That this team sucks because of the receiver core. I mean, you look at our comments on the last pod, you look at Twitter, the receiving core was what's holding this team back. They appeared, again, it's Maryland. You do have to throw that little wrinkle in there every time you say this. They appeared to play more aggressive than I've seen them. Cephas, finally, some production. Keandre Lambert-Smith looked like a true wide receiver number one. And Drew was just throwing the ball like I've never seen before. I mean, the spot-on accuracy was incredible.
I want to give credit to, I think the coaching staff as well took it personally. Like, people have been giving us shit all year, and now we are at a point where they took it personally. And Franklin said at the end of the game, it was important to stay on track with our offense, stay on tempo, all that stuff. And our offense looked like we could move the ball up will. And Maryland's not a horrible team. They're not horrible. They're still, 5-3? They're solid.
Yeah, they're just trending in the wrong direction as of late.
As I said last episode, they started 5-0 and they might finish 5-7, but that's just a Maryland team for you. But at the same time, our offense just looked just crisp, it's on track. The complete opposite of the Indiana game. Everything was like 2 yards, 3 yards, crappy the whole way down the field, and maybe getting a touchdown.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, and that's, like I said, the one reason I take a little more out of this, even though it's Maryland, is because we've played some less than stellar opponents earlier throughout this season, and we still haven't looked like that.
It's nice to see confidence. It's everyone getting confidence too into this game. It's just building like, hey, we have like somewhat of a pulse on offense that we can do something.
Yeah, I mean, only time will tell.
Matt's shaking his head there a little bit.
I'm glad you feel that. I'm glad you feel that way.
Let's put it this way. One of us is going to look like an idiot next week, Matt.
I hope it's me. I feel like I'm in a win-win situation, because if Penn State goes out there,
you're doing that Josh Pate thing. That's what Josh Pate does. Do you ever notice he never takes a stance? Josh Pate always says the opposite of both things, so he can't be wrong. That's what you're doing.
I'm in a win-win situation. If Penn State goes out there, no, I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong. If Penn State wins, I will come out here next week and I will say that I was wrong, and I'll be very, very happy for it. But if they lose, then I get the validation of knowing that I was right. So, like, and for the record, and I mean, are we talking about Maryland at all, or are we just going to talk about Michigan the whole time? Are we just gonna,
we are talking about Maryland talking about how we looked.
There is nothing, like, I never said that Penn State's just going to lose to Michigan flat out, even after Iowa. I throw the Iowa game out because that was a clear hangover after Ohio State. I just don't think that I'm just not going to get this swell of confidence doing this to Maryland.
You're referring to Indiana, right?
Did I say Indiana? I meant Indiana.
You said Iowa, I think.
Oh, I meant Indiana. Yeah, my bad.
Speaking of Indiana, I was gonna say, why are we throwing Iowa out? That was a good win.
That 10-7 win over Northwestern we just had, that was bad. Big Ten West. Whoever gets out of the Big Ten West to get the go to slaughter in the Big Ten championship game.
Way to just completely change topic in the middle of Matt's.
I take a 10-7 win. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna.
Give us your thoughts. I mean, you heard my thoughts and Kyle's thoughts on the Maryland game this past weekend. Offensively, we could dive into defense a little bit. What are your thoughts about the game? What do you feel coming out of that?
I literally agree with everything that you guys said. I think Allar played the best game of his season. Like, he looked poised, he looked aggressive, he looked like he was done being tentative. It was nice to see someone other than Keandre Lambert-Smith actually catch the football. Like, it was all great. Like, running game wasn't necessarily, I think, where you want it to be. I think we could maybe talk about that. The defense played out of its mind again. All wonderful. All great things. All things that you should do when you play Maryland. Can you translate it over to the caliber of opponent you're going to play this week? That's where I leave you. That's where I leave you.
No, it's fair. It is fair. I'll tell you where I stand on that as we fully transition to Michigan, I do want to hit on a little bit about this Maryland game. A couple maybe things that are still lurking out there that are a little more concerning. The big one that everyone's talking about is Singleton. He's just he has yet to find his groove. And maybe he will. Maybe this is the weekend where he breaks out for 120 yards and it's like, but it just doesn't feel like it's there.
You made the comment this weekend that you get sad every time Singleton touches the ball this weekend.
It's just like I don't know what he's just not running like himself. It's like someone took out Nick Singleton's soul and put in somebody else.
He had a good return though.
Yeah, he did. Like I just
get him in space.
I don't know why they don't try to get him in space more. Like they really should. I don't.
We can all agree on.
I don't know, but yeah, it is concerning. Like I mean, on the plus side, Katron Allen is kind of taking the reins of that starting position. Actually, Franklin was asked about it today and just kind of, said what you would typically think, like, oh, it's worked for us, whatever. But like, yeah, like it is a little concerning about the way Singleton has looked this year. But
are there any that game was obviously just like an ass kicking start to finish. What else other than Singleton do you guys want to point out as any, not say negatives because there weren't any like negatives in that game, but if you could say like if you can be nitpicky, like we're talking about all these positives, so be a little nitpicky if we had to.
Nitpicky, Kalen King.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
he's not playing to the Kalen King. This literally sounds like what I was saying about Drew last week, where he's not terrible. He's just not playing to what we'd expect. Same with Kalen King. I mean, he was supposed to be one of the best, corners in the country, and it's sort of just been when our defense gets picked apart, he seems to be the one that they're picking on a little bit.
Yeah, and the mental errors are still there. Like there was that drive where it was like 6 penalties. It felt like one right after another, and like. That happened at Ohio State too. That gave them their only touchdown of the game, or was it the only touchdown or the deciding? No, they had 2 touchdowns, right? I think. But you know what I mean. But like it gave them that momentum, and that's the thing. Like you can afford that against Maryland. You can't afford that against Michigan. So yeah, that's a concern.
Agree. Yeah, agree. But overall, it is about the best outcome I think could have had it against Maryland.
I also feel like it or maybe our pass defense as a whole gets blown out of proportion more when our run defense just locks them up for negative 50 yards rushing. So like Maryland's forced to throw the ball down the field. If they get like a chunk play here or there, it like just makes it blows out of proportion a little bit more. So I thought our secondary played okay, but like you both said, not to the full potential. So I do agree with that.
Well, no. I actually think like that entire narrative between the run defense this week and pass defense, whatever, like it's kind of skewed out of proportion because like Maryland is not a running team. Like they don't run the football. They don't run it well at all.
And if you have 3 big sacks, it adds
and the sack. So like they're doing is passing the ball, especially when you get down by multiple scores. So like, what was it, 280 some passing yards? That's not bad. But
no, I agree, but I think because they don't run the ball well, I mean, we did play a pretty aggressive defense. I mean, we send a lot of guys. We're sending a lot of, there's safety blitzes, there's corner blitzes, there's, Abdul Carter's blitzing. When you do that, you're naturally, if you don't get home to the quarterback, which we did a lot, hence the negative, Twalia had negative 47 yards rushing. So we did get home. But when you don't get home, you're going to give up some yards because you're playing a more aggressive. Yeah.
6 sacks, 12 tackles for loss. I think it was. I saw. That's what it was.
And then Dom DeLucas just slipping under the end for interception, as he always does.
My guy.
I mean, it is crazy.
There's been a good Dom shutout in a few weeks, but it's good to see him back out there making plays like the playmaker he is.
Can he play wide receiver?
I'm out there. Got them hands.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great game. It was fun to watch. It was enjoyable. One thing I can guarantee is we're not beating Michigan 51-15. So
Kyle,
61-15.
Kyle, believe.
Uh,
You just gotta believe. So let's turn the page to Michigan, and let's start with this. No matter how bad Matt thinks we're gonna get spanked, he won't admit it, but he thinks we're gonna get spanked. We are the best team Michigan will have faced by far
yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
Their closest margin of victory, I think, it's Rutgers at 31-7.
Oh wait, hang on, let me find it because
as Matt looks that up, ESPN, they're giving us the advantage right now on their projector, the matchup projector, 50.7 to 49.3. I mean, back when USA beat Russia in hockey, do you believe in miracles? I mean,
believe.
Yeah, I used it today and I had it on my whiteboard, but it got erased. Michigan's outscoring their opponents 366-60 through 9 games. Pretty good. I mean, they're playing Sister Mary's School for the Poor and
the Citadel,
Purdue, but yeah, no, I mean, they're. I mean, I'm just looking at the ranking comparison, and they're in the top 25 of pretty much everything.
They're good.
Yeah, and if they're not in the top 25, they're in the top 50 more or less. But like, yeah, they're
good. There's no doubt about it. They're good. Here's my hope. Right? To date, they've played ECU, UNLV, Bowling Green, Rutgers, Nebraska, Minnesota, Indiana, Michigan State, Purdue. I can't describe how bad that is. My hope is they come out
and they get punched in the face.
Get punched in the face and get off to a slow start because of that. And it's just enough that the crowd buys in, the team, Penn State buys in, like, all right, we can play with this team. We could beat this team. Just come out, punch them in the face enough that we get the buy-in from the entire stadium. And I hope that's enough to carry us to victory. I don't want the opposite. If they come out firing, we could be in trouble. Agree. My hope is that the fact that they played no one comes back to haunt them. It's the first real team they've played, and we can get off to a little bit of a jump.
I think you're going to see this play out like you've seen pretty much every big game for James Franklin play out when the teams are comparable. I think there's going to be punches thrown both ways. Like, I certainly think that Penn State is going to be in it late in the game. Can they do enough to get over that final edge? That's the unknown. And it's the unknown because we have not seen it. Like, we have not seen it. Literally, just to go all the way back to 2016. Blocked field goal. You had to stop them for one drive. You had to stop Ohio State for one drive. We haven't seen a Penn State team have to come and stop like this. Maybe the Wisconsin Big Ten championship game. That might be it. So that's...
I agree. And I think that's it's why it's so hard as a Penn State fan to bring yourself to believe that we can go beat this team. It is why it's so hard. It's the same reason I did not think we had a chance to go out and beat Ohio State. Like, I just don't trust this team on the road at all. So now at home, I feel a little better. I feel like Ohio State was a 10 times better team than us last year, and we had them beat. I don't think that's the same if that was in Columbus. Now, that being said, follow that right into Matt's point. We did have Ohio State beat last year. But go look at the scoreboard. We know how that played out. This team has never proven, this coach has never proven that we can win a big game.
Yep. I mean, even think about it, like the Utah game last year. Cam Rising got hurt. Like, yeah, it's all those things where it's kind of like, have they actually gone out and won a big game?
That one, I do think. I mean, we talked about this after that game, but we're winning that game, Cam Rising or not. I'm pretty confident in saying that it was a great win, but it's nowhere near the magnitude of this, right?
No,
because I would argue, Matt, what made that win, it wasn't the win itself that was less impressive. It's the fact that we only got there because our two rivals made the playoffs. So it's like it was already like a
consolation
participation trophy, pretty much. Like, I think that's what negated that win a little bit more than the actual win itself. But the magnitude of that is nothing compared to this.
That's what I wanted to ask you guys.
Michigan game.
The significance, if we do pull off the win Saturday, national championship winning games aside, would this be the most significant win in Penn State football history? Just the magnitude of it, everything surrounding the game too. Obviously, there's some stuff going on with Michigan, but also if we do win this game, what the rest of the season looks like and all the potential outcomes we could have, would this be the biggest win in Penn State history?
I personally still can't put this above 2016 Ohio State, just for the reason of,
putting us back on the map.
It put us back on the map. It propelled us to where we are today, which, as unhappy as we are,
you just want to throw out that Matt wasn't there. That's what.
No, but really, I mean, do we not win that Ohio State game? I mean, it led to a Big Ten championship just a few years after the worst scandal in history, the hardest hitting sanctions in history, until Michigan gets theirs. Yeah, right. So I have a hard time putting anything above that 2016 win, because of what it did for the program. And I just feel like what could have happened, this program could have spiraled downward really deeply had we lost that game.
My only counter to that is this win then can propel us into that elite tier. Like, we're in that the good to great and then great to elite. Like,
well, time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, that's it's
time
so
will
hard.
tell. It's the 2016 win. Yeah, the 2016 win. I have the ability to look back and see what it did for us. This win now.
2005 for the same reason too, like kind of put us back on the map. Like if we won this game, if we go to the playoff, like if that kind of is the catapult, then 100%. But there's a very good chance that we win this game and don't make the playoff. So like the way everything is shaking out, although Oklahoma did lose again. So like I said, crazy things happen. Texas should have lost, but yeah, like it would certainly from a mental standpoint be huge. To get that albatross from around your neck, like
it would be James Franklin. It would, and sounds a little counterintuitive because I do think it would be James Franklin's biggest win. And the only reason I say that, I feel like the 2016 win will have meant more from a program standpoint, but the expectations going into that 2016 game were zero. Like, we weren't supposed to beat that Ohio State team. Franklin, there is no one feeling more pressure for this game than Franklin. There is, he knows.
I'm pretty nervous.
You might be nervous. Okay. That guy has to feel.
It's just because you have to sit next to John.
That's my guy who would be all snuggled up there in the bleachers this weekend.
I was checking my phone to see if it was going to snow and be cold. You guys, might have to find another excuse for why you're snuggling under a blanket. But
I seen 14% chance of rain, so that's going to
rain.
Well, anything that's a non-zero chance means it's going to rain. We just don't deserve nice weather for Penn State this year.
But if we win, I don't care. Let it pour.
One thing for the game I want to bring up to you guys is a point I made in the offseason is that Michigan, between last year, just running all over us, and also Matt made the point that they were against their tendencies for last year's game. It was just a train wreck all around. Michigan's O-line, and they're two-time defending Joe Moore Award champion, and it's gonna be the best O-line we face all year. They're better than Ohio State, but I think this O-line is still worse than last year's O-line. It's hard to say that, even though they're probably gonna win the Joe Moore Award again. But I think our D-line is just more complete this year, if that makes sense. It's more we have the pass rush, but also we have the stout guys up front to prevent those big rushing plays.
Well, let's talk about Chop specifically. What do we feel his impact? Obviously, every single person in the world wants Chop back. Is it a deal breaker?
It's not a deal breaker. He's not. I feel like for rushing, it's not going to be as obviously a third and medium, third and long. Sure, you'd love to have a top second round draft pick coming off the edge, coming to second quarterback, but.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously having Chop back would be huge. I think that's why they, didn't try to rush him back last week. We'll see if he's back this week. I think Franklin said he's hopeful. I'm still kind of at the standpoint where it's like, this is a prove-it game for this defensive line. Like, yeah, they've been probably the best unit on the entire team all year. compared to what they were expected to be. But again, none of these teams that we played have been Michigan.
I'm just comparing Michigan and Ohio State and like what parts are better and what parts like Michigan doesn't have a Marvin Harrison Jr. There's no skill guys on the outside from Michigan that can beat our secondary. At least if our secondary plays their potential, they should be able to shut down Michigan's skill players. It's going to be their front five against our front seven. And JJ McCarthy better than Kyle McCord. He is, but he's not like the JJ McCarthy Heisman talk is a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it.
Oh, great. Now I have to bleep that, Kyle. Thanks.
Matt doesn't have that ability to edit.
Well, it is bullshit. I have to make him do it again.
Now I gotta do it twice.
No, but all the Heisman hype for this guy. I mean, stat wise, he's not that great. He's not. He's good, but he's not like Heisman good. He's also putting these game numbers up against like the blind school in South Carolina or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's going to be a tough clip when he throws for 350 yards against us, and we get.
Well, luckily, not many Michigan fans watch this. So
until this week,
till
we put that clip out there.
It's gonna be in the Michigan hype video release.
Yeah. Right after Josh.
Good. Guess what? That means we go viral.
Yeah, Kyle, we're already going viral, over 1,000 views.
Retweet that video, Pate State material, Coco, right there. I mean, again, it's the same thing we said last year. Like Blake Corum's gonna get his, Donovan Edwards is gonna get his. You just have to limit it. Last year didn't do that. See what happens this year. You know, I mean, if you're looking for positives, Penn State 2021, a not good, not deep Penn State team, had this game pretty much in hand and blew it at the last possible minute. Broken play, long touchdown score. So, you know.
Oh, that game still pissed me off.
So.
I also I don't know if I don't know if I'm fully on board with that. I mean, this game last year was, I don't know.
Yeah,
hey, we were leading at halftime.
It goes to what you were talking about earlier with Michigan not playing anybody. They've been able to be so vanilla and win all these games. Like they're gonna have something that we haven't seen. So how are we gonna react to that? How are we gonna respond to that?
No, I agree. I just think that goes more so for the offensive side of the ball, right? Like defense is a little more straightforward. And I just trust our defense a lot more than I trust our offense. So you were
just talking about how great this offense is, and it's gonna, you know.
Drew might win the Heisman after last weekend.
I mean, his numbers aren't crazy different from JJ McCarthy.
And when Singleton goes off for 200 yards this weekend, you know, we might have 2 Heisman front runners. Now, I just my thing with this game is I trust our defense. I really do trust the defense. Like Matt said, they're going to get their points. They are going to score. This is not going to be even to the level of like Ohio State. But I just hope that this offense found something in themselves at the end of that Indiana game. We said it at the end of that Indiana game. We're like, maybe that drive was what we needed to provide a spark. And they followed it up at Maryland. The question is, was that just a one-time thing? No one can answer that. We'll find out.
Well, let's answer that question. Coco, what's the spread?
So right now, Michigan's fair by 4.5. It opened up, I think it was like what?
Really?
8.
That got down to 4.5.
It came out at 4.5. It was something crazy.
He must be using the Chinese sports book.
That
went up to 4.5. It was 3.5 this morning.
It's 4.5 right now. I checked it right before we started.
I'm checking because I mean, FanDuel had a very different line than that.
What did FanDuel have? I just checked Barstool before we started.
FanDuel at one time was at 7.5. When I checked, it was at 5.5. FanDuel still at 5.5.
Well, which spread do you guys want to use? Because I'm looking at right now, Barstool is 4.5.
The one that gives us as many points as possible.
Shop around.
Here.
It's up. ESPN has it up to 4.5.
Oh, I just found this overseas book giving us 12.5. I'm gonna go with that one.
No juice. Should we sell them 4.5 for our picks here? Because who cares really?
Yeah, I think 4.5 is a good consensus.
Matt, your score prediction for this game here, so we can. Oh, and the over under is 44.5.
Penn State wins 21-17. I said they're gonna win. I said they're gonna win in the off season. So I mean, I'm just gonna stay with it. My whole.
Kyle, you know what Matt just did? He just
decided.
He decided to believe.
I decided to believe in what I said, 3 months ago and stick with it. But
also make these all Penn State money line bets instead of us covering.
Pretty much.
Trent, I know you're going with Penn State. You've been
no, actually, that's the funny
that's
part.
why you're.
That's the funny thing. Give me now. We're winning. We're gonna win this game. We need to. We cannot. It's not possible. We can't come out in the losing end of every single time. Eventually, it has to be our turn.
It's gonna be so much fun when we lose next week and we just.
It's gonna be miserable.
Eventually, it has to be our turn. It has to be, right? We can't be on the losing end every single time.
That's what I thought going into Ohio State.
And you know what? That's what Tennessee fans thought against Alabama. You know what happened last year? They were the king of the world for that week. And we're going to be the king of the world this week.
Trent, over under 44.5.
Give me the over. With our new explosive offense we have.
I literally took the same thing because I think it's going to not a shootout, but like I don't know, 24-27 game-winning field goal. Maybe. I don't know.
Right. No, we need to win by more so we have time to rush down to the field from row 78.
Take the goal.
You know what? Okay. We deserve to rush the field because, I mean, let's be honest. I do think we can win this game. I think we're going to win this game. It feels like I'm asking for the impossible. It does because we never win these games. So it still feels like I'm asking for the impossible. And it shouldn't. It should not have to feel that way. These games as fans, like, I'd kill just to give to a 50-50 shot where I'm like, 50-50 chance we beat Ohio State, 50-50 chance we beat Michigan.
That's what ESPN's giving you, basically. Giving you better than 50.
They're giving us better than 50%.
Being a Penn State fan my entire life, there's a scar right over my heart every time. And I just go back to the well and I'm like, you know what? It's not going to hurt this time. I'm ready to put my heart back out there. You know what? Come next week, there's probably going to be a big big cut there again. But I'm believing. Trent, pull up the sign again. Believe.
Kyle, I believe. I do. But I also have my Sad Country playlist ready, just in case.
Should we do the other games now? We're going to keep...
Yeah.
Now, let's get back to believing. Let's believe one more time. Believe.
Oh, this is gonna hurt so much on next Monday.
Yeah,
but
I know. I don't know if I've ever bought in as much as I have for this game, and I don't know why. I really don't know why.
Trent's gonna be on suicide watch. Gonna be on suicide watch. We're gonna be walking over to the student section trying to go down to beat the traffic, and he's gonna be climbing over the fence on the other side trying to just jump off.
I'm just gonna jump off the light post. Splatter.
No, Trent, you said against Indiana we were almost gonna lose. He goes, Kyle, I'm gonna go jump off the water tower back there by Beaver Stadium. So
that's how I felt in the moment, but not anymore. They changed last week. Changed me.
All right, we'll move on here before Trent has a little moment there. Ole Miss at Georgia. Georgia's favored by 10.5 right now.
Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia. Speaking. Why is College Game going there? First of all,
it's on ESPN.
Yeah.
Who cares? No one cares about Big Noon. Like I'm not. Big Noon kickoff sucks, and I don't mean the morning show sucks, but I say it sucks because Big Noon is ruining college football.
Yeah, I'll go Ole Miss. Be a little contrarian because I need to get some wins here because I'm behind. Actually, no, I'm actually tied with Trent, but we're behind Matt by like 4.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Should be.
Ugly game. Penn State's next opponent is Rutgers. That if we care about that, the Rutgers Iowa over under is 28.5.
I'd just like to say, Kyle, last week you were like saying that you're way more scared of Rutgers than you were Maryland. It's looking like a pretty smart point.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big pause there.
I was like, I've never been complimented.
I can't argue.
No one's ever said that to me.
I can't argue. I was right. I mean, but yeah, Rutgers, Iowa, 28.5.
28.5.
28.5. I swear to God, that's what's on Barstool right there.
I don't know. I mean, I said this last week. I'm like, because I took the over last week, didn't I?
Yeah, that was like, I think it was like 29 or 30, and it went to 17.
It doesn't seem possible.
Can't believe.
I believe.
Is it the under?
Oh, over.
Matt,
give me the under.
Till Iowa can score more than 2 touchdowns, I'm going under. And Coco Sportsbook thing here, we got a Penn State defense over under 2.5 sacks. Our good pass rush versus their good O-line.
Under.
Over for Trent.
Matt, do you know that Maryland's quarterback rushed for negative 50 yards last week?
Well, he was just confused. He was running the wrong way.
He did start out like 12 or something crazy though, didn't he?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Talia's not horrible.
No, he just has no one.
Yeah, he has no strong opinions on Talia, but ask him about JJ McCarthy and who. He got way up into the camera.
Here, let's
talk.
All right, I'll throw some stats here for you. Matt, your big stat guy. Who is more touchdown passes, Drew or JJ? I'm just throwing it out there. This is a big Heisman guy, right? Big Heisman guy.
Well, I'm gonna go with Drew based on the way this segment
20 to 18. Drew has 1 interception, JJ 3. Passing yards, JJ has 240 more passing yards, but as we hinted out, they played, a bunch of blind teams the first 10 games this season or whatever. The only stat that JJ is solidly ahead of Drew is completion percentage, and it's 75 to like 63.
I mean, what you're leaving out is that Allar has thrown about 80 more passes than McCarthy.
I just said about completion percentage.
No, so McCarthy's more accurate. He's also Allar's had many more opportunities, so he's thrown 80 more passes and has 2 more touchdowns.
I'm just saying, JJ is not a Heisman. I'm not arguing that Drew's a better quarterback. I'm arguing JJ is not a Heisman guy. That's my argument.
Just saying. Just saying.
Well,
Matt prefers JJ McCarthy over Drew Allar.
No, I'm just.
He has his Heisman moment this weekend, right?
No, because Dennis Sutton's going to knock him out of the game in the first quarter just by sacking him.
Kyle's unhinged this pod.
I'm just ready to get hurt. I'm ready.
Coco.
I'm picking McComas up at the airport on Friday. We're going right up Friday afternoon. It's gonna be a great weekend.
All right, let's talk about the real celebration after we win. The duck pond.
I'm sweating a little bit. Hold on.
We need some verification that the duck pond at Briarwood's not it's not dried up. Because it's gonna be a real bummer when we actually pull off the miracle, beat Michigan, and go there, and there's just dirt.
We'll be getting water bottles and just pour.
I'm gonna bring a water bottle with me, and I'll bring some back to the tailgate to start baptizing people if we win. That's where we take the goalpost. We take the goalpost all the way from Beaver Stadium to Briarwood, and we put it right in the duck pond.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm sweating now. Jeez,
oh.
I've been animated this episode.
What?
That's getting cut for short. All right.
I don't know, fellas.
Last call. Who wants to go?
Is Jim Harbaugh on the sideline this weekend?
That was gonna be my question. All right, yeah.
Well, should we actually talk about that before we do last call? Should we actually get into that a little bit? Is there much to talk about?
Well, there might be. Let me just see, because let me
Trent
see.
saying no.
No, you don't want to talk about it.
I don't want outside distractions affecting my belief.
I thought I just saw something on Bleacher Report that said that the notice of for potential suspensions wasn't directed at Harbaugh. But carry on. Go on.
I gotta say, what a lightning way to end this.
Yeah,
this pod.
All right. So Trent, what was do you see Harbaugh? I think we do, because he's a weasel. He's gonna get out of it. So
all right, let me ask you this. This is where I was going with it. My real last call question is, because I do think we will. Would you prefer him on the sideline or suspended for the game? I want him on the sideline.
Yeah, I want the full. I want the
too.
no distraction of, like, at the end of the game, oh, Harbaugh wasn't there, or some excuse.
Agree.
Yeah, me too. I mean, also, just another reason for them to be galvanized.
I'll go down and shake his hand after the game, after we win.
Yeah, you ain't getting anywhere close to him.
There's a greater than 15% chance Kyle gets arrested this weekend. If we win, it goes
15?
up to
15's a little hot.
If we win, it goes up to about 70.
Speaking of
I've never been arrested.
Well,
that we know.
Well, now we have threats against JJ McCarthy, Briarwood Duck Pond, Jim Harbaugh.
Speaking of percentages, let's make that our last call. We didn't do the playoff thing.
Yeah, that's because I've been doing a
all
terrible
over the
job
place
of tracking it. All right.
Well, what were they from last week?
I don't know.
I know mine was 10. I'm
keep tracking your own, Kyle.
I'm staying at 10.
Your job was to write down on that dumb note card you have there.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Put them on the back of that paper now.
Well, not till we win.
I think you were at like 10. I was at like 8.
Yeah, I don't know. I was in the 10-15% range.
Yeah, I'm not changing.
I'm going up. Coming up.
I'm only going up because we beat Maryland. It's not because we beat Michigan yet.
All right. I think that's fair. But I also think we're going to beat Michigan. I'm going to go back up to – this is big. I'm going back up.
Wait. Before you say that, just to know that we're winning the Big Ten East tiebreaker right now.
I know.
Also let that known.
The tiebreaker's going our way a little bit more. Obviously, that could probably, change this weekend. But some other things in college football are shaking out the way I like to see it. I'm going with 25% chance. Again, that is built into my assumption is we beat Michigan.
Staying at 10.
You're at 10, Matt.
Yeah, I'm staying
there. Even I'll go to 18. I'll go to 18. I'll throw a number out there. This is a good spot. 10, wherever it was. I was 8. Now I'm 18. So
he wasn't at 8. I know he wasn't in single digits.
Trent was at 10% last week. I was below him.
I don't know where I was.
I wish we had a way to track this.
I mean, we can go back and watch after this episode.
Yeah. So anyway, speaking of, we'll see what happens next week. Yeah, I was trying to figure out how I wanted to end this, but it's been one hell of an episode. So
can I ask one question before we cut out here?
Go ahead.
Do we take down the goalpost if we win? Will Beaver Team allow us?
Hey.
We're not going to rush the field if we win.
Because there's no rushing anywhere in that stadium.
Yeah, that's from our seats. No, what'll happen is we're gonna think we're going to win because we're gonna be up by like 14 with 3 minutes left. So we're gonna be like, all right, let's make our way down to the bottom, and then we're gonna lose.
Yeah. I try to rush the field from where we're at. By the time we get down there, they'll be shooing us off the field because the blue band's coming on for Rutgers.
I know. That's what Ronnie said. By the time Shannon gets on the field, they'll be like, "Ma'am, it's Sunday."
Oh,
No, we're not rushing.
boys, I'm ready. I'm ready to get hurt again.
Well, you probably will.
Trent, one more time. One more time for the viewers back home.
Like us, follow us. We are Tailgate Talk. Until next time.